Welcome back to another Bali COVID-19 update. This is for September 5th, 2021, and my name is Bruce. And, well, some more good news. Yes, it continues. How many videos in a row is this? I don't know, 5? Well, let's take a look at the numbers first, because there's some good ones. And the numbers are looking good again. So, 7-day average for new positive cases has been falling, and the other day it was at 475, and today it is 350 for Bali. Wow, that's a big drop. And the 7-day average for deaths is continuing to drop as well. Today it's down at 28. In all of Indonesia, there was 6,727 new cases. The other day there was 5,000 some cases, so that's gone up, but that's just on a daily basis. So we're looking at the averages here, and so our averages are going down, the 7-day averages. Total number of individuals tested, 128,300 with 5.2% positive rate, and the 7-day average positivity 7%, and on the first, it was 10%. So, dropping nationwide. Now, there's a new one I have here, some new figures, and over the last 7 days, Bali's achieved 37% of tests of targeted individuals, and the 7-day positivity rate was 12.3%. And so, our positivity rate here in Bali is higher than nationwide, which is one of the reasons we're at level 4. Bali vaccination numbers: first doses 3,201,791, that's 71.7% of the population, and second doses 1,965,408, and that's 44% of the population. And yesterday, 50,206 additional doses were distributed. And the numbers have been slightly adjusted this time because they're now coming from the Ministry of Health, and the total number there is 4,466,595. And so there's a little difference on the percentages this time. For vaccinations, during the period from August 4th to September 4th, there were 1,114,000 doses distributed in Bali. Outstanding. It's great. And let's take a look at the numbers for yesterday. New positive cases 348, just below our average. Recoveries 801, so today the recovery is higher than the new positive cases. Good, we're back to that. And total deaths 27, just below our new 7-day average. So the numbers are looking pretty good, but Bali's still at level 4, and we still have a lot of red zones here, and so let's take a look at that. So we have good numbers, still going down. But this is an interesting article. Bali still has most COVID-19 red zones in Indonesia. Out of 15 regions that are considered high risk in Indonesia, Bali has 6 of them. And those 6 are Badung, Kelungkung, Karangasem, Tabanan, Denpasar City, and yes, my region, Buleleng. And they're categorized as red zones. Despite numbers still going down, we're still at level 4. You might remember last Sunday I said that Pak Luhut said that we would reevaluate over the next few days and see if Bali was going to be moved to level 3 when the restrictions were extended again. Well, we're still at level 4, so our numbers are still higher than we would like. So, while I'm feeling positive still about the downturn in numbers, and particularly the 7-day averages for new cases and deaths, we still at level 4, and we have 6 of the 9 regencies here considered red zones, so we've still got a ways to go. This is not the time to let up. So we've seen that the numbers are looking good. What about vaccines and vaccinations? Indonesia receives 500,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccine from Australia. And so we received this on Thursday, a couple of days ago. And according to Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi, he said that we've received these through a dose sharing agreement with the Australian government, and that this is the first batch, and the Australian government's promised to give us 2.5 million doses throughout the year. Additionally, Australia has donated $77 million for Indonesia to purchase vaccines. And this is the result of direct conversations between President Jokowi and Prime Minister Scott Morrison. And the foreign minister said the Indonesian government expresses its gratitude to the Australian government and their people for their support for cooperation in handling COVID-19. So thanks, Australia. And more on vaccines and vaccinations. Bali officials prepare to distribute hundreds of COVID-19 vaccines to disabled citizens. Okay, yeah, this is good. This is a good story. So this is happening in Tabanan, and the regional government is preparing to distribute hundreds of COVID-19 vaccines to disabled people. And there'll be 1,740 doses of COVID-19 vaccines from Sinopharm, and they'll be distributed to people with mental and physical disabilities in 4 Tabanan sub-districts, such as Tabanan, Marga, Pupuan, and Salamadeg. So that's good news, and that's started. It should be actually done by now. It was supposed to be happening from the 2nd to the 4th, so finished up yesterday. Additionally, officers from civil service were going to be there to prevent unpredictable incidents that might occur when they distribute the vaccine to people. I wonder if this is referencing the problems we had in Bulang here last week with some pushback on people that don't want to be vaccinated. So they're going to use 4 school buildings in these 4 different sub-districts. The vaccination process will be conducted by a medical team that will be provided by the provincial government, and it will be monitored by the Tabanan district government. And it says the officials from the Civil Service Office will stand by at the vaccination sites to assure the safety of the medical team when they distribute the vaccine to around 400 people. And so that's not good. That they're preparing to get some pushback. I hope not. I hope they're being overly cautious. And so we know that the numbers are getting better. On the health side, we're moving up. Things are looking positive. Unfortunately, on the economy side, they're looking negative. And so let's take a look at what's happening in Bali. Since the implementation of the Java Bali PPKM, ferry passengers at Padang have decreased by approximately 30%. So from Padang to Lembar in Lombok, there's been a decline since July 2021 when the PPKM started. And the chairman of the DPC, Association of River, Lake, and Crossing Transportation Employers in Padang, said that ferry use has decreased by 25 to 30%. Especially, he said, with pedestrians and two-wheel passengers being motorbikes or motorcycles. He said the decline is increasing, and this is due to several factors, and the most important one are the PPKM, the restrictions. He said that for pedestrians and motorcyclists, motorbike people, the number of passengers per day was around 5,000, and that's dropped down to 3,500 approximately now, and he expects this decline to continue. For trucks, he said it's about 15% decline, and he said that the decrease in passengers and vehicles in addition to PPKM is also due to restrictions on passengers coming from Java to Bali through Gilimanuk. He said he hopes to see things increase in the near future, and he says We hope that the PPKM policy will be reevaluated, or there will be policies from the government to revive the economy while continuing to carry out strict health protocols to prevent the spread of COVID-19. And so there's one problem we've got. People are not coming through the island and moving on, so that's difficult. Down here, where I live, we get a lot of the big trucks that are coming down from Java and going down, making their way either through different parts of Bali or down the East Coast Road to Padang. They come right down this little narrow street here. It's just crazy. If you've seen one of my Singaraja snippet videos, you've seen these big, huge trucks coming down these really narrow streets. So what about hotels in Bali? Looking grim. I talked about those the other day. A total of 11 non-star hotels have been permanently closed in Denpasar city during the COVID-19 pandemic, and another 70 non-star are closing temporarily. This is based on data from the Denpasar Tourism Office, and there's 316 non-star hotels in Denpasar. So that means that currently there's only 215 operating. Of course, if there's no tourists, it doesn't make any difference if there's 100 operating. In addition to non-star hotels, there are also star hotels in Denpasar which are temporarily closed. There's 49 star hotels in Denpasar, and 3 have been temporarily closed at this point. Hotel managers have been forced to make these permanent or temporary closures because there's no tourists staying, and this has been, a year and a half now, and they just can't cover operational costs. So many hotels in Denpasar, in all of Bali, have either fired or laid off their employees in order to cut operational costs if they've stayed open. And if they've closed, of course, everybody loses their job. These closures also affect other classes of accommodation, including villas and homestays. And as you know, hotels are being sold now, and they're being sold online as well. And so, example, hotel in Sunset Road, Juta, was recently sold for 65 billion rupees on Facebook Marketplace. Wow. And a 5-star hotel in Ubud was sold for 275 billion rupees from the Lamudi property buying and selling site. So, grim news on the hotel front. Maybe we do need to get some quarantine tourists in here, with quarantined visitors. Okay, so we're looking at the hotels, and we looked at hotels last time and the hotels this time, and it's looking grim in that. And transportation, nobody is coming through. Big drop in people going from Padang to Lembar and Lombok. And the Bali as a quarantine place has come up again. You remember I talked about this 2 or 3 videos ago. This was the deputy governor's plan, and it's come up again. During a meeting with President Jokowi, acting chairman of the PSE DPP, Pagiring Ganesa, asked that Bali be allowed to be a spot for quarantine for foreigners coming into Indonesia. And when asked about this, the deputy governor said, well, I've already proposed this a long time ago, but we haven't heard anything from the central government yet. And he said, well, yeah, if they come here, we're all set. The process will run smoothly, and we repeatedly asked for Bali to become a place for travelers. When I mentioned this last time, he was talking about this more symbolic. He said it's not really going to help us much in the long run, but this time he said that this is the best opportunity for Bali to get right now from the central government in terms of improving the economy. So, I was not a big fan of this. In the first time I heard it, I'm starting to change a little bit as I see that the economy just is just going. Hotels are in bad shape. Of course, if you look at videos of Canggu, which I was yesterday, you'll see the beach is full of people. Of course, nobody's wearing masks, the foreigners and the Indonesians as well. But lots of stuff happening there. On the other hand, if you take a look at Kuta and Legian and here Lovina and Padang, well, it doesn't look good. So, will this help economically? Yeah, it could. And if it does help, and there's plans to be able to monitor the people coming in here so they don't just wander off, I think at this point we'll take any help we can get. And Pak Giring added that he'd been in Bali for some time before being invited by President Jokowi to come to this meeting, and he said that the impact of PPKM on Bali was very visible. He said that Legian, Poppies Lane, Kuta, Seminyak, all the places that used to drive tourism here are now completely closed. Pak Giring said, on this occasion I bring the aspirations of the Balinese people so that the quarantine from international flights is carried out in Bali, not in Jakarta, so that the occupancy of tens of thousands of hotel rooms there can start to fill up with quarantine tourists. So, the president said that he would discuss this in a cabinet meeting soon to come. Will we see the airport open up to international flights? That doesn't mean opening up to tourism at this point. It just means that people that are coming into Indonesia now and are being quarantined in Jakarta would come here and be quarantined here, and then would be free to either go back to Jakarta or stay in Bali or wherever they're going. In terms of the business visa, Beach 11, nothing has been said at this point. So let's see what the president decides on this one. Is Bali going to get some international flights coming in? Okay, and so what about people who are misbehaving? Well, today we've got some foreigners and some locals. A Russian national is detained after causing a disturbance in a Bali restaurant. A 40-year-old man from Russia was detained after he was causing a disturbance in a restaurant in Padang in Mengakui. According to the head of the Bali Law and Human Rights Ministry, Jamaruli Manihuruk, he said that the Russian was detained by immigration authorities on this Tuesday, after disturbing the peace at the Warung Asri restaurant. He said after previously raging and causing a problem in one of the restaurants, he was detained by the civil service officer and then handed over to immigration, where they determined that he was suffering from depression, and he was transported to Mangusada Hospital in Denpasar to receive medical attention by a doctor. He was there for 2 days treated, at which point it was decided that he was okay to be deported, and so he was transferred to the House of Detention, the Immigration House of Detention in Jimbaran, and he will stay there until a ticket is obtained and he can be sent back home. So, we're getting some more reports of mental cases, people having emotional difficulties, whether it's from drugs or alcohol, or because they're stressed because they don't have any money. I know that there's been a number of ones where people have just run out of money here. So, not good. And Jamaruli warned other expats who have been staying in Bali to always comply with the rules and regulations, because they may receive consequences if they don't. Okay, another warning to foreigners here. So this poor guy is suffering from depression and acting out. Here are some criminals. 2 Turkish men who skimmed ATMs potentially face 7 years in prison. So 2 Turkish nationals were detained for skimming ATM machines down in Denpasar. They attended a virtual trial on Tuesday, and they accepted the prosecutor's charges without any exceptions. They can be jailed for up to 7 years, at which point, of course, they'd be deported as well. According to the 2 Turkish men, they were asked to skim the machines by a fugitive who is unknown. And they were supposed to receive US $1,400, or about 20 million rupiah, in return. And so the case opened up here. The police were contacted by a bank who noticed the irregularities, and looking at camera feed, they saw that suspects were installing devices such as hidden cameras and routers in order to gain access to people's personal information from their cards. And so they arrested these two men in, of course, their villa in Canggu. Everybody has a villa and they all live in Canggu. And what did they seize there? They had 195 magnetic strip cards. These guys were set for business. A magnetic card reader, 2 LAN wires, 2 routers. Okay, and so they're busted. And this is why you have to be really careful when you use ATM machines. I don't use them anymore in any of the tourist areas. I'm not going to even say where I use them in case somebody's watching here who decides they want to hack my bank. But it's not just foreign nationals that are causing problems these days. A makeup artist was arrested for stealing from a Bali villa guest. And so a professional makeup artist was arrested for stealing a sound system from a villa's guest in Bali. And where was the villa? Of course, it was in Canggu. And the 28-year-old Indonesian man from Banten was arrested by the police after he was reported for stealing a sound system. According to reports, he broke into the villa early in the morning, 5:30 a.m., when the guest was away from the property, and he stole a sound system that was worth approximately $172, 2.5 million rupees, not much. And when the guest returned to the villa, he noticed that my sound system's gone. He reported to the villa owner, and the villa owner reported to the police. The police began an investigation. They discovered who the suspect was, but they weren't able to find him at his place of residence in Denpasar. However, they did find out that he had moved to another place, and they went and captured him there. He said he sold the sound system for 600,000 rupees, and he spent the money on his daily needs. How long will he go to prison for this? That doesn't say in the article. These are some of the criminal activities going on here, and there's actually a lot that get reported that I don't even talk about, because what's the point? But these are some of the ones that stand out. There's a lot of petty theft going on, a lot of bag snatching, helmet grabbing, pickpocketing. You see reports on social media, and this is unfortunately part of pandemic Bali in some places, not in all places. Up here we don't have a lot of foreigners, and I never hear of any problems up here. I don't know if it's because they're not reported or because it just doesn't happen. I mean, you go down to Canggu and it's full of foreigners, and so maybe criminals think it's easy pickings down there. It's time for wrap up. Okay, a lot of stuff this week. Lots and lots, and I haven't talked about everything. Some of this is going to carry over to Wednesday. Some of it's just not important enough to talk about, really. Can skip it. And of course, the big question is always, when are we going to open? When are we going to open? When are we going to open? Crystal ball time, and I don't think it's going to be in third term 2022, like some people are saying, because you remember that was floated here, what was it, last video or 2 videos ago? I think it was Pak Luhut who said it, but it could have been one of the other ministers, I don't remember exactly. Are we going to wait another year before we open up to international tourism? That's really inconceivable to me, that we're going to do that. I posted a video just today. You can see the link up here of a little walk Zoe and I did down to the harbor, right down here, and along Jalan Erlangga. The harbor is being spruced up. They're changing the street, putting new bricks in, and sprucing things up, I guess, getting ready for tourism. I was talking to one of the guys there, and he said, there's still no tourist here, but we're getting ready. People have said October, wow, you know, we're in September, I can't see opening up in October. I'm still hoping for December, but that's a hope on my part. As I said, the crystal ball is kind of fuzzy. Wasn't seeing really well into it today. So we will open up again. Unfortunately, there's no telling when. We're still level 4, so we can't even talk about that till we get down to level 3, level 2. And so, yeah, we've got 12.3% positivity rate still, and there are a lot of people here who are sick, who are not reporting that they're sick, and so I don't know how that's going to go either. Okay, so I'm not quite as pumped as I was a couple days ago. Well, because another one of my children has COVID, so this is the second one of my children. My son recovered. My youngest daughter has it now, so it's here. You know, it's here, and people that deny that it's harmful, who say it's just flu, it's not just flu, who say that it's not here. Yeah, it's here. So get real. And so I'm not quite as positive as the other day, but the numbers keep going down, and so yeah, looking for that light at the end of the tunnel. So thanks for viewing. Take care, stay safe, follow all the protocols, be kind to someone today. See you next time.